Hi everyone, I just wanted to do a recording to show you how to use the references tab in Microsoft Word. So let me real quick drag this down here. So typically when you're in Microsoft Word, your banner kind of looks like mine does at the top. Okay, so let's say you're writing a paper. I'm not going to be too extravagant with my typing because I don't want to. I shouldn't say that, but it's been a long day already. Okay, so let's say that we want to quote something from an article. Okay, so you can see I've got an article up on my left. It's basically a scholarly article. I do like, you can Google topics now and it will pull up, it will much more easily pull up scholarly articles than it used to, because it'll say scholarly articles and give you links to them. You can use those in most things where you need scholarly and peer-reviewed articles. You can also go to the library database to search for those. So let's say I was typing in my paper and I'm just going to enter down. So somewhere I'm in my paper and I want to quote that for some of that first line, you know, in the sentence. So it's a direct quote, and I'm going to say, there's currently much interest and not just access to higher education. I'm going to stop right there because I'm the slowest typer in the world. So when you actually cite like a direct quote out of a source, and it's word for word that quote, you put it in parentheses, and at the end you would put a citation. So then you're trying to think, how do I cite this and what does it look like, and how do I do all that? That holds a lot of people up. So I get right here to the end of that quote and I go up here to the references tab. Okay, the first thing I do is make sure in style that my style is set up correctly. In the business world, we require APA. I don't require that you absolutely use APA in here, because if your major or your department, your area of study uses something else, you can use that. But you can use the drop down and choose if you were MLA or APA or basic ones. Okay, so I'm going to click Insert a Citation and add a new source. So this pulls up. Now I can look at my type of source. So I might be citing directly from a book, a journal article, which is what I have. I could scroll down. I could be citing directly from a website, a document from a website, from a film, from an interview, if I was interviewing someone, okay, a case or a patent. But lots of different options you can pick from. So I'm going to choose journal article. Under author, the biggest thing you have to remember is don't type it in directly here, because it won't work right when you do your references page. You click edit to the right of author and you enter each author that you have. Last name. Well, if I can do that right. First name and add. And if you had multiple authors, you would just keep adding them until you're done and hit OK. It plugs them in. If you're doing something like a website and it's not really an article that someone authored, click corporate author and then just put the name of that website in there. So the title, I can't spell, student retention and higher education. Okay, so then that's the title of your article. The journal title, which is kind of blurry because I have mine So small, it's in the very bottom footnote. Journal of Educational Policy. I cannot spell. Okay. The year, now typically the year and the pages and scholarly journals will be kind of at the top. If not, you can scroll through your pages and see, like, so my second one's page 424, so I know this one's 423. You know what I mean? You could do it like that, but mine's given right up here at the top. So my year is given as 2002. My pages are 423, 424, or 442. I click OK, and it plugs my citation in right there for me. I'm only going to put one in so I can show you how that works. But I'm gonna go up here real quick and say, oh, I need to put in my section headings for my paper. Okay, because I kind of do that either up front or as I go. So I'm gonna start my paper out with an introduction. And your section headings aren't the same for every paper. So, and maybe this quote fell in my introduction. So maybe this is company background. And maybe this is a literature review. And then I have my conclusion. Okay. So I showed you how to put a citation in. I want to show you how to set up headers for your table of contents, and then I'll show you the references page. So you saw I just put all these section headings in. It's nice if you can do this before you start a paper, because this is what you do. You hold Control and you left click and you highlight all of your section titles. Go back to your Home tab. Right here under Styles, go across to Heading 1. Click that. While it's still highlighted, don't unclick it. Change it back to the font that you're using and the font size that you're using, and turn it back to the color that you're working with. Okay, so black. Now I'm going to unclick from those. When I hover over them, you see kind of like the triangle that looks like it's kind of pointing downwards. Okay, that means that's a heading. So now let's pretend that I have typed in the introduction. You know, my introduction could go at the top of the page. I left room, so I have room to put in a table of contents. But let's say I've typed here, you know, and I went on and I typed there, and I talked about my company background and did that. I did my literature review, and then I have my conclusion. Okay, so now I get my paper all written. I do everything. I get to the very end of my paper. So let's say my conclusion ends on this page. So let me tab down. You're going to get on your next clean page. This is, I would do this when I'm done with my paper. Go back to references and click on bibliography. Okay. In APA, it's references. So you're going to click on the references option. It's gave you your references page. Now, if I would have had 20 references, they would have all been lined up here. I only entered one. This is that one I typed in and showed you. Okay. If you then add to your paper, if you click up here in references, right there where it says references, update citations and bibliography, it will update that for you as you go. Okay. Now, you'll probably want to highlight the references. Go back to your Home tab, set it to be the normal size and font color and everything too. Okay, so that would, all those would flow into it. I didn't do this. I just typed in the information it asked me for and it formatted it. It ended in second line. It did everything for me. So now I could say, okay, I've got all that done. My paper's all done. I need a table of contents. So an interactive table of contents means that you can click on that line or that number, that page number, and it will take you to that page. Okay, I'm going to go back up to my references, and I'm going to go all the way over to the left, table of contents. And it says, do you want automatic table 1 or table 2? Do you want to call it contents or do you want to call it table of contents? So we'll call it table of contents. And it pulls that up. Now, I usually make sure, not usually, I always make sure that my table of contents is on its own page. So if you need to move anything, you can. I would click and highlight and change that font, that size, that color. So now you can hit control and click, and it'll take you right there to that page that falls on. Okay. As you update your paper, after you've got your table of contents in, or if you need to, after you get your table of contents in, make sure you go back in, click on table of contents and update table. And it's going to ask you if you want to update page numbers only or the entire table. Absolutely always click update entire table to make sure nothing gets off kilter there. The other main thing I would tell you in your paper is you make sure from start to finish that you use the same font. For the most part, the same font size, the same font color. Don't make your headings ginormous or anything. You're not supposed to make your headings any bigger than anything else. Okay, so that's just what I wanted to share with you is using the references tool to insert a citation, to insert your references page or your bibliography, and to insert your table of contents. So if you have any questions on that, just feel free to let me know. And good luck working on your project this week. Definitely